Hey there, everybody. Welcome to our review of The Handmaid's Tale Season 5, Episode 8. This is a heck of an episode. I don't think that's much of a surprise to anyone based on where we are. I feel like they pulled a couple other little tricks in here as well that at least me personally, I was not expecting.
Yeah, there was some big tug of war with Canada and Gilead pulling back and forth on June. Seems everybody wanted June's help. Serena, Mark, Lawrence, everybody wanted a piece of June. We haven't seen the promo going into this review, so I have a tinfoil hat theory that I'm going to share with you guys. I have not seen the promo, so if it's in the promo, it is what it is. But this is just my theory without seeing it.
Yeah, I haven't either. But before we go even further, hit that subscribe button. We are only 2 episodes away after this one from the end of this season, which technically, I guess if season 6 is 10 episodes as well, we're only 12 episodes from the end of this show.
Boy, yeah.
So we don't want you to miss any of the updates we've got coming on this show. American Horror Story is also in full swing.
And White Lotus, that's going to be coming up this weekend. We're going to be covering that here at the channel as well. Also follow us over on Instagram, Matt and Jess TV. Okay, let's talk about the Hannah of it all.
Yeah.
Because the very last scene was Hannah at the wives' school, and you could hear the plane starting to come over the school. Here's my tinfoil hat theory.
All right.
She's either going to end up dead or she's going to end up very, very hurt. There's something more to this that's going to be happening here, that like we had this big happy ending where June is told by Mark, yeah, we found the school, we found Hannah. He wasn't very clear to be like, we're going in, we're getting her, don't you worry. But she took that to mean that they're going in and they're getting her. And so she goes home, tells Luke, Moira, everyone, he found her. They're going to get her. They're going to pull her out. She's going to be saved. And then that last scene where she looks up and you hear those planes. This isn't going to end the way that June thinks it's going to end. Canada is attacking.
There's a tiny, tiny part of me that just wants to live in June's head for the next week and just imagine that everything is going to be a-okay, but the reality, not so much. Something bad is going to happen. And where I'm going in the tinfoil hat direction here, it's...
I guess I still have mine.
Yeah, you haven't taken it off. It's good. We're prepared for this. No, I think that, Mark wasn't altogether clear. I agree with that. I wonder, though, like, Mark may have thought that everything was going to be okay, but I mean, I think the reality here is I think there's a parallel, too, with Commander Lawrence, where he gives his big speech to June in this episode as well, where I think his perception of what New Bethlehem can be, Mark's perception of what this raid or whatever else we want to call it could be, those things don't equal reality. Mark is not flying one of those planes. Mark is not one of these various people that's on the ground. Like, I think he may very well believe certain things, but human error can come in, can shake things up, and man, if something happens and, Hannah's either dead or injured or something horrible, like, that's going to send June against Mark in this really big, dramatic way where it's like, okay, there's another person she could kind of sort of work with just totally out the window.
Yeah, because it feels like there's a possibility that we are moving forward where June is going to end up working with Lawrence in some sort of way to take down the Gilead that he helped create. We had this really powerful scene between them where June laid all of these things at Lawrence's feet, where he was just like, you think I don't know this? You think I don't live with this? He's been a really complicated character that we haven't really been able to dive that deep into, but this gave us a pretty big window into everything that he's been feeling, all the guilt that he was feeling. He even said, if I knew what this was going to turn into, I never would have done this. I never would have tried to save humanity. Like, everything I did, it was able to help save humanity. But if I could take it all back with what this has become, I would take it back in a second. So I believe him. I mean, that's the thing about Lawrence, is he's he's a bit of an enigma, but a lot of it he's been pretty blunt about what's going on and what's been happening and the reality of everything that's happening. And even though he started this, he really wants to finish it in another way with New Bethlehem. And that's why leaning into this whole the person that has to come back and be in New Bethlehem has to be June, because she is this big sort of anti-hero and hero to some people, anti-hero to Gilead, bringing her in and having her sort of be that big figurehead of like, yeah, I was part of Gilead and I've come back to New Bethlehem because I believe that this can change and that we can, take this down and make something better, is a huge win for Lawrence, so that he can then sort of take everything down, bring them to the UN, make them this big player on the stage. But I think without June, that doesn't really happen.
It's going to be a heck of a lot harder. And I will say that speech that he gave to June, Bradley Whitford's done a ton of stuff in his career. It's the best scene I've ever seen from him. Like, it was so, like, there was anger, frustration, hurt, pain, like, all of it. And like you, I believe him. I also believe that, like, the reason he doesn't unalive himself in this moment is because he knows that without him, there's no hope here for change at all. Like, I think he realizes he's the only one who can try to undo some of what he did. And then you're adding on that what you said, that without June, there's probably no real symbol to push it forward, because there needs to be, I think, a symbol of repentance here, a symbol of, I'm willing to give this a chance. And this is someone who has been deeply wronged by Gilead. You can't throw Serena into New Bethlehem and expect people to want to go there or flock to this place at all. He needs her, and I honestly thought for about 95% of this episode, until that very closing minute when Mark gives that call, I thought we were doing this. June was going to go back, and it was going to be like, all right, here we go again. June's back in Gilead, and I'm not saying it even would have been like a horrible twist, but that would have been a very predictable twist to me.
I think one of the things that Lawrence was talking about that does make the most sense is that, Mayday has a little bit of power, but they haven't had enough power to actually take down Gilead. They've just been able to get people out of it. And with Lawrence being in the position of power that he's in now, if he is really looking to make this change, and he has said, it's going to take a couple of years. I know you want Hannah to not become a wife, but that's kind of a lost cause. You will be able to see her, and you'll be able to read, you'll be able to write, you'll be able to do all of these things in New Bethlehem. It's going to be different. But by the time Nicole is of age to become a wife, she will not have to do that. These changes will happen, and these changes will happen because you will be there. And I think that's something that June really wants. She wants to stop more of this happening. Yeah. And if she doesn't go there, then is there still a chance for that to stop? And that's where the Canadians come in.
It's all like so complicated and so messy. And it's once again an issue of, okay, these are the figureheads, but who are the people under the figureheads? Who are the, the boots on the ground? Like, what are they going to do to actually implement these changes? And I think that's where I think somebody like Luke has as many hesitations as he does, because there's the, do you trust Commander Lawrence part of it? But then it's like, okay, great. Commander Lawrence is saying these things. He might believe these things, but is Commander Lawrence going to be knocking on doors in New Bethlehem every day being like, hey, is there any handmaids in there? Are there any problems going on in there? No? Okay. All right. Everything is fine.
Yeah. And I think that was a very important distinction with New Bethlehem to Gilead. There's no more handmaids. Yeah. That's all going to be done and done. And that, I think, is, of course, very important to June. She wants the control over women to stop, that there has to be, if it's going to be a community, it has to be more of a community, and that it can't be what it was. And this could be, it's tough with Commander Lawrence. Like, is he fully truthful? I don't know, but I think he's mostly truthful. I think he does want to make some changes. He's brought in Nick, who again is sort of another tool to this whole thing of let's bring June in. Look, Nick's on board. You trust him. He's the father of your child. Like, he wouldn't do you wrong, and Lawrence has also helped her over the years as well. I just think that it's more possible for June to get some sort of a change if she does this and things are truthful.
I think ultimately it's one of her better case options. I mean, Commander Lawrence is no hero, but it's sort of this is a world where you kind of get what you get, and it's sort of like he is the lesser of many, many evils in Gilead, because it's like, here is someone who at least seems to acknowledge the error of some of their ways. I still wouldn't trust him as far as I could throw him, but I understand where her headspace is at.
I think the biggest thing going into the next 2 episodes is, what is Canada's role with this strike on them? And if it is coming towards the school or near the school of, a bunch of very young children, what is this going to mean between the relations here with Gilead, with Canada? Canada's making a military move on Gilead that seemingly hasn't happened yet. And because we've had sort of Canada's the peacekeepers, they're taking in refugees, they're helping people, they're seemingly this whole time, Marcus has been like, our hands are tied, are tied. What do you want us to do? We can't do anything further. We're doing what we can. But it sounds like now Mark is being a little more open about it, to be like, this has been in the works a very, very long time. It's just we can't tell you, and we can't tell you everything. And we still don't know everything.
So Serena.
Oh boy.
Serena's story, okay. Where she ends up, I mean, that to me isn't a huge surprise, but I think
she's ended up being a handmaid.
Yeah, like, I think where I appreciated the writing of this episode is that conversation with Serena and June. I think they did a very good job of carving this distinction where June did what she did for herself and for Noah. She didn't do it for Serena, and that's where we had that line of June being like, Serena, we're not friends, and they're not going to be friends. The best thing that June can give her is just a little bit of an understanding of what she did when she was a handmaid having to deal with Serena. That's really it.
Yeah, that scene was beautifully written. So having Serena be like, how can I go there and be in that house and, watch someone else raise my child? Having June just be like, are you kidding me with that? Like, you got to be kidding me right now with that, Serena. Come on. And yeah, that whole, Serena, we're not friends. And she was just like, oh, you forgave me. And she's like, no, I didn't. Like, that's not what happened. I was there for Noah, not for you. Like, we are not bonded in that way, in the way that you think we are. You need to suck it up and go back. And if you really, really want to help your child, you have to be there. And to be there means you have to be a handmaid, and you're going to have to swallow it. And Serena does.
I think ultimately this is going to be, Serena may have realized a couple of things when it comes to like, oh, this is something I did wrong to you, June. But I think there's a difference between understanding the actions and understanding the experience. And it's like now Serena is going to be in a fully just horrible position where she's still not even going to understand all of what June went through, because I don't feel like the Wheelers are going to do every single thing that Fred and Serena did to June, but she's going to get a lot of it, and she's going to see the full extent of a lot of the pain that June went through. And I think the question is, and I don't think we're going to get an answer to this season, this is just my theory, but how is this fundamentally going to change Serena, and what are Serena's priorities going to be moving into season 6? This can't be a quick fix, because then if it is, then Serena doesn't really learn anything.
I think it's also kind of interesting that Canada's letting this happen, because I don't think that they're unaware that the Wheelers are, pro Gilead. Yeah. Oh, now they have Serena's baby. Oh, now they have Serena. Like, they don't they don't know nothing. They know something and they know what's going on. So, like, when Serena was taken, the idea that Canada was like, oh, yeah, we'll let the Wheelers foster the baby. Oh, now Serena's going to go live with the Wheelers. I would have thought that Canada would have stepped in and just been like, nah, because their government still runs and is still functioning, that they would have given that baby to anybody else to foster.
Here's what Serena needs to do. She needs to find a mole in this house and then have the mole record information, get like the video evidence, because it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. The only assumption I'm making here is Canada won't act without, undeniable proof. So it's like, get the proof to the authorities. Maybe you can change something. I don't know then in that situation, of course, what becomes of Noah, what becomes of Noah and Serena's status. Like, there's a lot of complications there. That's why this is not going to be easy, but it shouldn't be easy for Serena.
No, it shouldn't be.
All right. Well, we'll see where things go the rest of this season. Just hit that subscribe button so you guys don't miss anything we've got coming your way. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you here next time.